Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. It is 2:01 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. Also in the boardroom, we have County Manager Ramiro Chavez, as well as Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell and Assistant County Manager Rob Gelder. Our Clerk of the Board, Jamie Caldwell. We'll start our meeting today with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
Please join me in a pledge to this great country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Next, Vice Chair Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, the Nisqually and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Okay, with the agenda in front, is there, are commissioners okay with moving the agenda forward? Is there an item they would like to remove? Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the proposed agenda for Tuesday, June 13, 2023.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. The agenda is approved. Next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 2 minutes today to address the board just because of the sign-up sheet. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board does not respond to public comments. On a need basis, the county manager will follow up on specific items. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request, pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. With that, first person on the sign-up sheet is Aaron Cole. Just the address, you said.
And it's reduced to 2 minutes now? Okay, just making sure that. Okay. All right, Commissioners, thanks for your time. My name's Aaron Cole. I live at 1531 Prince Street in Olympia, Washington, within the county here. I'm the staff representative for the county employees that work here. We represent over 1,000 employees within this county. That includes the ones we're in contract negotiations with, court security, district court, the courthouse, and the Tilly bargaining units. You know, they dutifully serve the citizens of the county. As you see, there's many here and many others that cannot be here, but they are listening and they want to know the results after this meeting and through the process as we go through this. We're here to inform you maybe what administration hasn't. And we want to tell you some stories, and we want to tell you what's really going on with the workers that are within this county and doing the work for the county and the citizens. As you know, we're in the contract negotiations. We do not believe they're going very well at all. We started in 2002, about September, expired contract as of December 31st, but we continue to move on. Historically, they've been done on time. We don't know what's changed and why this is prolonged for so long. Despite this, the workers are continuing to work without their contract. With their last increase of a COLA of 2.5% back in January of 2022. Right now, we are 10% behind in the last 3 years of what the CPI is. If we take it back to 2012, we're 20% behind. You can't continue to sustain and subject the employees to wages that are suppressed compared to where the economy is going. People are leaving. It's a fact that people have left that are over 15-year employees to go somewhere else. We can't bring in employees because the wages are low. We want to be able to work effectively. We think that we deserve more, and the county workers deserve more than how they're being treated right now. Thank you.
Next is Kevin Hansen.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Kevin Hansen. I'm a county employee in CPED. I'm here on my own time, and I would like to, I note that I live at 412 Plymouth Street in Olympia. There are many people here today who are not going to be able to speak because they're worried about speaking. They're concerned that if they speak out, they will be punished for it. That's an issue. So my request, and it's just a short request, seek your own facts directly from the employees. Go direct to them, bypass the administration, and do your own fact finding. Because I think the story you're going to get from the employees and what you hear will contribute to the stories you'll need to be able to convey to the voters about why a significant salary increase is so important. And those individual personal stories are going to make a difference to people when you're on the campaign trail saying, listen, we treat our people well, and that's why service is better. And the things that they're going to tell you, I believe, are things that contribute to the very low morale, the extremely high turnover rates, and the large numbers of junior staff that the senior staff are training constantly. This is a real issue, and I hope you'll be able to address it. Thank you very much. I yield the rest of my time.
Next is Paul Andrews.
My name is Paul Indris. I live at 2620 10th Court Southeast in Olympia, Washington. I've been an employee of Thurston County for over 15 years. I've been in public service for over 25 years. I've been part of negotiating 9 different contracts, 6 of them here within Thurston County. A little bit about myself. I'm a municipal stormwater inspector for Thurston County, so I inspect all the Thurston County owned stormwater facilities in the MPDS regulated area. All those inspections, they directly affect our Thurston County roads, drainage crews, our MPDS crews, sometimes the pavement crews. My inspections also deal directly with the pavement preservation through chip seal and overlays, getting culverts switched out before that happens. I also inspect all the county-owned property stormwater infrastructure. So from the Warwick to Tilly to Thurston County Complex. I'm also one of the people that are on standby or carry a pager. You know, this year I'm going to be on pager duty almost 3 months. That's 3 months after work hours. That's 3 months on weekends, 3 months on holidays. So that directly affects me and my personal life. I do tech assist throughout the county. So I talk with homeowners, businesses, HOAs, you know, due to basement flooding, high groundwater, beaver dams, water quality. And since the bargain began in 2022 in October, the county has not proposed a fair and equitable wage increase that reflects real life increases. We deal with this stuff on the daily basis from gas, groceries, and housing. We talk about this organization with equality, but we don't feel that we're being treated equally. Something else that comes up within negotiations is how we want Thurston County to be the employer of choice. At this moment, Thurston County is not the employer of choice out there. We pull from the same work pools as the City of Olympia, Lott, Lacey. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jeff Merriman.
we can distribute that.
So I'm back in front of you guys. My name is Jeff Merriman. Last time I was in here, I was trying to push, I think, 5 or 6 cannabis code amendments that were very popular with zero negative effects. One of them, though, the one I take the most pride in is the one in front of you. Last year, it went into effect. It's right at a year here in Washington State. The verbiage marijuana is considered a racist, derogatory word. And as a civilized society, we try and steer away from certain word usages. I was kind of upset last time I was here and I stormed out of here because I thought, why would you guys vote against following the law? It was later explained to me you guys don't read everything that we turn in as citizens. So I'm back here to ask Ty Mincer, Carolina, Gary to at least pull this one code amendment back up and settle it real quick, because it's been a law in the state of Washington now since June 9 of 2022 that all the wording in our RCWs that used to say marijuana now say cannabis. The counties on the east side, all the red counties, same thing. I have open records requests because I just don't understand why you guys would vote not to follow the law. And it's disturbing to me why my elected officials that want to make law for us to follow can't follow a law of the state that was created. So I ask that you guys maybe pull this up after your meeting and just address this one thing. All we are changing is some black and white print on a digital format. It should take staff less than a day to do. It puts us in compliance with state law, and it shows the community that, hey, we are not going to participate in derogatory verbiage in our laws. We are not going to sit with racism. Thank you.
Next is John Pettit.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live on Rich Road. You know, it's a very sad situation that you have probably the worst morale that you'd have in any county organization. Why? Because people right here, all these people out here, are coming to plead to try to be heard by the people that are elected to represent them. But let's start out. You're not worth the normal 4 minutes. That takes too much of our time to listen to you. That's an insult and a slap to every single person here that's taken time off work, lost wages to be here. And you think you're representing them? I was watching a little earlier agenda setting, and it was suggested by one of the commissioners that Mr. Romero, the county manager, has a plan to make a comment. And it was suggested, let's make the comment before we get started with public comment. No, we don't want to do that. Well, that's been a regular practice, because whatever he chooses to say can't be addressed by any of these people here today. It can't be addressed for another week or two. Maybe can't be addressed at all because, you know, there's a difference between people that listen and actually listen, that can hear, and people that listen. If you're not interested in listening to what these people's valid complaints are about being paid a continually reduced wage by dollar of value, what they can buy with it, then don't be where you're at. Don't claim to represent them. If you do care about them, step up to the counter. You didn't have to pay $2.5 million a year for this place. That took money right out of these people's wages. Help these people out, pay them a fair wage. They deserve it.
Thank you. Next is Leah Davis.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Leah Davis. I live in Southeast Olympia. I took personal leave to be here to speak to you today. I work at Thurston County in the Community Planning and Economic Department, and I'm a local 618 union member. I like working for the county, and I've been dedicated employee for over 8 years. I serve the residents of Thurston County by creating a vision for a better world for everyone, and by ensuring that land use codes are up to date and workable. I work directly on the docket that you create. My main reason for coming today is to put a face on the union, to show the commissioners and the negotiating team that there are hundreds of employees paying a price for working without a contract. We are the people that keep the county going. As I am sure you are aware, over the last year or more, there has been a double-digit inflation. Employees who earn a fraction of what county leadership earn feel that pinch a lot more acutely. The pay scale of the county is falling further and further behind, but it can be corrected. When you get briefings on the classification and compensation study, I want you to ask, but why are so many employees leaving the county? Whether you're aware of it or not, Thurston County has become the region's training center. I have seen over and over again, CPED hires people who work for 2 or 3 years to get experience and then move on to higher paying jobs elsewhere. We're also losing long-term valuable employees for the same reason. And you know how expensive it is to hire and train employees, and the county is footing the bill for all that training. This pattern appears to be the same in all departments. Providing sensible and fair cost of living adjustments will help Thurston County keep pace with the surrounding jurisdictions. Please urge the negotiating team to negotiate in good faith and keep in mind that retention bonuses are a very, very small part of a strategy to keep fully trained, experienced, and valuable employees working for Thurston County. We are worth more. Thank you.
Next is Michelle Wall.
Michelle Wall, I live at 33515 40th Avenue. I'm super nervous. I hate public speaking. Anyways, thank you for your time. My name is Michelle Wall, and I have worked for this county in the Thurston County Prosecutor's Office for over 20 years. As a paralegal, my wages do not reflect the hard work and dedication I put into hundreds of cases, to include homicide cases, on a weekly basis to assist keeping the citizens of Thurston County safe. I have been a lifelong resident of Thurston County and love this community that I have served for over 20 years. Hearing that our wages are 20% below where they should be makes me feel invaluable and disrespected as a community member and as a county employee. I am here first as a lifelong community member and then as a county employee asking for a living wage so that I can continue living and serving the community that I love. We are all worth more. Thank you.
Next is Jeanette Hernandez.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jeanette. I live in 2914 Furwood Loop in Olympia. I work for the Prosecutor's Office in Thurston County. My first week of working for the Prosecutor's Office, I was able to watch the trial of a double homicide. The victims were a young woman and her 4-year-old daughter. The defendant in the case was found guilty. At this moment, I realized this is the place I want to work and contribute my labor towards, an office that helps keep our community safe and ensure justice. Most recently, I have been finding myself considering the possibility of leaving this valuable work to find a better paying job. I think most people can agree that those who work for government don't do it for the money, at least in our category. I work here for the value that it brings me to contribute to the community and contribute to justice. At the age of 30, I cannot afford to buy a home with my current wage. It isn't even a long-term goal for me because it feels so unreachable. Thurston employees deserve more because we're people just like you. All we want is a fair cost of living increase that shows respect for the work that we provide every day to the citizens of Thurston County. Thank you.
Next is Alexis.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Alexis Coda. I am a paralegal with the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. As a whole, I've spent 16 years in public sector. At my core, I'm a helper. I love helping others. I knew my calling was in the public sector where I could help my community and maintain my purpose in life. This past year is the first year in 16 years that I felt that the county no longer appreciated my help. And let me be very clear when I say county, I mean the Board of Commissioners and I mean the county manager. I have a saying that goes, no one works in public sector to get rich. Those of us here in the room and back at our job sites covering for us so that we can be here, do this work because we find purpose in it. We do it because we love the community that we live in. And we do it because our community deserves the best. We are here to simply ask the board and the county manager, please give us a living wage. Give us and our fellow community members that you are elected and hired to serve a living wage so that we can continue doing what we love and continue servicing our fellow community members. Give us a living wage so that we no longer have to worry about how we're going to pay next month's mortgage or rent. Let us continue to live and work in this county that we are proud to serve. We're worth it.
Shara Coulter.
My name is Shara Coulter, and I'm a legal assistant at the prosecutor's office. Being a lifelong Thurston County resident, I was thrilled to secure a job for the county 4 years ago, a career I assumed would provide a secure future for myself and my family I wish to soon grow. After 4 years of loyal service to this county, 2 college degrees later, multiple promotions within, and hours of dedication, overtime, and heavy emotional casework, I stand here in front of you making $9.53 above minimum wage. I'm forced to work a second job to afford just a basic living essentials. The website of the Board of County Commissioners displays a mission statement as follows: to create a community that promotes health, commerce, and environmental protection with transparency and accountability. I ask you all to think about that statement and ask yourself, are your actions in line with the statement that you created? All we are asking for is you to provide the members of Local 618, County 2, a fair wage because we deserve more.
Next is Joanne Bell.
Hi, my name is Joanne. I live in Lacey, Washington. I'm a legal assistant for the prosecutor's office. My day starts as early as 6 a.m. on occasion to process every case on the preliminary calendar. For those of you that don't know, that is every single felony matter that happened the night before. I have 2 degrees and a certificate as a paralegal. I love what I do. I love serving the community, but more importantly, I love my family. As I stand here before you, I beg you to connect with me, not as a superior, but as another human being. I'm a single mom struggling to support my children. With costs in our county rising, I am struggling to even maintain a simple, modest life. My rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is over $1,800 and just increased another $200. A paycheck and a half go to rent, leaving very little for other bills or food. I have been looking for a second job, but it is hard to find something that's willing to work around a full-time job or be available for my son. I do not qualify for housing assistance or low-income housing, and yet I cannot find a place in this area that I can afford with one income. It's incredibly hard for me to walk into this building, seeing all the new TVs, the brand new equipment, the couches, the offices, when I am struggling to keep myself and my family out of homelessness. We are not asking for much. I am giving myself to the community to help keep it safe. I am simply asking for fair wage. I deserve more, my coworkers deserve more, and our community deserves more. Local 618 is worth more.
I apologize. Melanie?
I got you, Caroline.
Okay. I apologize. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I accept that. And I'll start by saying I live in Elma, and then I'll continue on. Melanie Rabali, a 30-year Thurston County Public Works employee, a dues-paying member of Local 618. For full disclosure, I was born, raised, educated in New York. When I moved here in '79, I became a Washington State resident. I've lived here for 44 years in Whatcom, Pierce, Thurston, and now Grays Harbor County. The RCW provides the opportunity for public comment, but I will thank you for taking the time to listen. I do listen to all of the BoC Zoom meetings, budget, agenda settings, and work sessions, and I understand that you're unable to respond, but maybe you'll ask for clarification, but otherwise you remain silent. The same is true with the union negotiations. They cannot be done in public, and my contract is in mediation. Additionally, I've heard you quote, shouldn't get in the middle of something, unquote. Not to be argumentative, but you are in the middle of something. It is within the direction of the BoCC to do the right thing, pay a reasonable wage, keep up with the cost of living. Over the past few months, I've heard the county budget needs to be approved. I've heard comments about we deserve 10%. I've heard comments that the most we should start with is 2.5, but start with 2, so there's no room to negotiate. In negotiations starting in October of 2022, we've been working without a contract since January of 2023. The CPI for March was 5%, April 4.9, May will be announced in a few days. My bills keep going up and my income does not. I get the feeling the county would like this mediation to continue to put pressure on us to settle. I also feel that there's no care or concern about the longevity of employees who regularly are accused of having their own agenda. Ultimately, would save the county a lot of money if we just left. Personally, I feel disrespected. I serve the citizens of the county to make the road network safer. Both my husband and I need dental implants that I cannot afford since I'm paying more money for gas and groceries. But it seems like the sheriff's department always get taken care of. I'm under the impression that the correctional deputies have received 4% and the sheriff's 4.1. I can wrap it up. The class and comp study, 2%. I choose to work here. Public Recognition Week was the first week. Please recognize us
Thank you,
and give us
Sheila.
our living wage.
Next is Mary Ann Durkin. Mary Ann Durkin. Next is Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon. My name's Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran, retired in 2012 with 29 years of active duty, and I've been living here since 2004, and I was born in the state of Washington. A little background of me is I was a equal opportunity representative in the United States Army, school trained, and did it for 8 years. For somebody to call something racist against gender, against any of the personal properties, is called reverse discrimination, reverse racism. There's always those. How can I be racist against something if it's not a person? I think you need an equal opportunity representative or advisor. As far as the payment and scheduling of pay, you guys decide to give yourselves a raise more than you do these people in front of you. You decide to hold a wage board that does not have a quorum, does not have all the members present to actually have a quorum or operate a wage board. But somehow your wages were increased, and your wages weren't increased for the next person who gets your position. It was proactive. It was then and there. Why is that? We have the lowest paid police force, sheriff's department in the whole state. Why is that? Okay. Why aren't they getting the proper means to take people off the street, put them in drug eviction, put them in through programs? We have a new program out there called SB Senate Bill 5536. It reversed the Blair decision. And the Blair decision was that it was discriminatory against the Constitution of the United States that for a person to have possession or illegal use of drugs.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard.
When are you going to uphold the law? Thank you.
Next is Trudy Burnham. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Frank Hicks.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Frank Hicks from Tenino. I'm here to again request that you give us our permission to build the honor wall in Tenino to honor our veterans. In 2015, permission to do so was given by the mayor of Tenino. With that, we met with the park board and we decided to build the honor roll wall and continuous honor roll plaque and continue with the wall. In 2016, Mayor Fournier dissolved the park board and we started working with him on the project. In 2018, after working with him for 3 years, we met with Fournier and with the new contractor and found out that the honor roll plaque was not part of the project. When we contacted the mayor Fournier later about getting a site for the plaque on 20 July 2018, and I quote, "There is no other place in the city park that we are willing to entertain on this subject. After 3 years of working with the city with the thought that the honor roll plaque would be part of the project, we were quite disappointed." After that, we were contacted by the Museum of Tenino, and they partnered with us in coming up with a design and working with us in the project. In 2019, in June, our group asked to be put on the city agenda to do a presentation. At the time of the meeting, we were, instead of being put on the agenda, we were told we only had 3 minutes. So discussion continued, and we decided to go ahead and do the agenda. But during that talk, one of the people in the audience thought they were being called a liar and said some very inappropriate remarks. And so
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
it's important that we know that that person was not a VFW member. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Phyllis Hockman. Okay. I have, Mr. Hicks is down the line. We can. Next is Brittany Miller.
Hi, my name is Brittany Miller. I live in Tumwater. I've worked for Thurston County District Court for the last 8 years. I was at the Department of Licensing for 5 years before that. 8 years ago, I took a pay cut to work for the county because I wanted to learn more about the court system and because I thought the county would have more growth opportunities. I currently work in the probation department. We are severely understaffed as we try to connect people to post-disposition, substance use, and mental health treatment. We have 2 regular probation officers with huge caseloads. I don't know if their pay is comparable with other counties, but I do know that they could go almost anywhere else and have a smaller caseload and more impact on their clients. We had hopes of starting an in-house MRT class to provide more opportunities to be in compliance with treatment, but we can't offer that service because we don't have enough staff. A few years ago, a coworker and I received letters of commendation from the district court judges for assisting a person at the front counter who was in crisis and suicidal. As much as I appreciate that recognition, I want you to know that pretty much everybody at district court deserves something like that. Just because what I did was noticed, I got a letter, but everybody there deals with people who are in crisis all the time. As I was trained, I used to be a trainer for court assistants in district court, and I would tell them that customer service is essential in public service. We regularly have callers or customers who are literally having one of the worst days of their lives. Many of them are struggling with substance abuse or mental health disorders, and if they don't get good service here, it's not like they can take their business down the road to Walmart. They have to deal with us. The last year, I've been more involved with the union and negotiations, and I always want to know more about the processes I'm involved in, so I started watching your meetings online. I watched last year's budget meetings, almost all of the agenda setting meetings. I've watched as you sometimes struggle with difficult budget decisions, many times caught between a rock and a hard place. We're not a line item where you can make savings. This is the cost of doing business.
Next is Frank Hicks, but, okay, cool. Oh, Trudy, sorry.
Got mixed up on
Yeah,
your side
Trudy.
up, I think.
I also am with the Tenino VFW Auxiliary.
Can you introduce yourself for the
And,
record,
excuse me?
name and where you live in the
Oh,
county?
Trudy Burnham, where I live, 833 McIntosh Street, out Tenino. I am just doing a follow-up from my last week. And as I see this up, and you do respect, obviously, the veterans, and I don't understand why we're not getting support from some of the members of the county commissioners. This is an 8-year ongoing thing. Our mayor is not going to work with us. We saw Carolina at the Stitch, which is the museum deal to support, and she was all for us, and then left to meet with the mayor, and through somebody else, she was told not to interfere. Don't know if it's true, just stating what I heard. Find this to be just, there's no answers. Veterans are why we're free. This is why we're here. Why are we being knocked down every time we try to speak and show just support for our veterans? We have 409 veterans buried in our little cemetery out there in Tenino. We wanted a wall. Last week I saw on Facebook somebody put that new wall that the mayor put in basically on his own terms, they thought it was a stonemason's wall. Another one thought it was a Freemason's wall. I mean, that clearly says it doesn't represent us. We want it. We've been okayed by prior county planner Harry Hibden. I'm getting upset, so enough is enough said today.
Next is Brandi Schroeder.
Hi, my name is Brandi Schroeder. I live in Olympia, Washington. I am an engineer tech with the traffic division under Public Works. I've been with Thurston County for 3.5 years. I am a resident of Thurston County. I came to Thurston County from Grace Harbor County, bringing 23 years of experience in roads, survey, construction, and traffic. I am standing here today as a union member of 26 years, using my personal time to advocate for my fellow brothers and sisters. Many of those feared retaliation by showing up here or speaking out. We are a generation of hardworking employees who want to provide the best public services by responding promptly to the citizens of Thurston County. We hold ourselves accountable, admit when we make mistakes, and strive to be better and do better. We are frustrated with the turnover rate, lack of good leadership, and living from paycheck to paycheck. We struggle to pay our bills and provide food for our families. Some of us are the sole family income. Some of us are battling health issues and worried about medical bills as they pile up. We lose sleep. In fact, we lose a lot of sleep, stressing over finances and the what ifs. Yet we still walk through the doors determined to gain the public's respect for providing great services. So I stand here and ask you to please provide us with a fair wage and positive leadership. Start asking the question of why we have such a high turnover rate. Thank you.
Next is Peggy Nelson. Okay. Next is Nadine Salo.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today on my own personal time. My name is Nadine Salo, and I'm a member of Local 618, Council 2. I have worked in the prosecuting attorney's office for 16 years as a paralegal in our misdemeanor team. My main duties consist of making sure that our daily in custody cases are charged and heard daily, and sending out subpoenas on cases from the massive COVID backlog that this county is experiencing. In addition, I frequently assist with training brand new prosecutors and Rule 9 interns. I am here today to express my frustration with the county's unwillingness to fairly negotiate a reasonable, fair, and equitable contract. The county has negotiated a much larger COLA with the Sheriff's Office Union, in addition to a much larger retention bonus than what has been given to the other non-represented employees of this county. It's disheartening to hear that. By your actions, this has made members of other unions feel unvalued for the critical criminal justice work that we are doing for this county and for our community as a whole. I choose to make my home here in Olympia and have always wanted to directly serve my community, but this makes it difficult to continue to do so. I do not know how much longer I can continue to live in a county that does not value what I am worth. My office would be hard pressed to find somebody with my level of expertise and knowledge, and that would be a significant detriment to this community. Thank you.
Next is Tanya Sullivan. Tanya Sullivan.
Hello, my name is Tanya. I bought my house in Olympia in 2012, a house I can assure you I wouldn't be able to afford today. I am a paralegal for the Thurston County Prosecutor's Office also. I have also been here for 16 years, and I am also the president of Local 618, Council 2, which represents a large amount of your county employees who work daily with their boots on the ground. Our skills and contributions touch the lives of every citizen in Thurston County in one way or another. And I am standing here to help you recognize the value that each of us holds in this capacity. Public service is not easy in the best of circumstances, and we have persevered through COVID, short staffing, technical deficiencies, and many more obstacles on a daily basis. And as we struggle through all of that, we also struggle in our personal lives. Overtime and high caseloads disrupt work-life balances, and as everyone knows, the cost of living, groceries, gas, taxes, housing, insurance, clothing, kids' activities, and now the long-term contribution are all putting our wages into deficit. The CPI is in place to help keep families in line with cost of living increases, and for example, the latest COLA for Social Security was 8.7%, the largest increase since 1981, and that speaks to what we are all experiencing. I implore you to recognize us, to see us, show us that the county values us and the work we do every day. We don't want to lose any more of our colleagues to municipalities or the state or private industry. We want our county to thrive, and we want to thrive. Please recognize the message you send to us as we have to fight for a fair contract. Please look at the long list of vacancies and wonder why. We're worth more.
Next is Stuart Reed. Stuart Reed. Stuart Reed.
Hello, and thank you for your time. My name's Stuart. I work in the assessor's office as a senior appraiser. I've been with the county for 7 years, and I live on the west side on Evergreen Park Drive. I'm here today addressing you because this contract issue, and when I brought it up to one of the commissioners, the response was that there's nothing they can do because this contract hasn't come up before the board yet for a vote. And I would just say that that's a complete abdication of leadership, in my opinion. Who leads the county? Is it the board, or is it the unelected managers who have declared war on the union and the staff of the county, apparently without direction or approval of the board? So, you know, as a county staff, we work very hard. We deal with threats, we deal with dog bites, people pull guns on us, people threaten us. You know, there's difficult situations. We wade through it all with professionalism. We work very hard for the county. Inflation, as has been mentioned before, has hit us all very hard. My rent went up 16% last year. Many people in our office cannot afford to live in the county that they serve. I live with my family of 4 in a 600 square foot basement apartment. We've dealt with cockroaches, you know, old appliances and so on. And that was the best place that I can provide for my family on the wage that the county offers me as a professional career level employee. So I agree with others who spoke before that said that I do not feel appreciated or respected by the county. I wonder who leads the county and why there's no accountability and why the board has chosen to basically be anti-union. You know, some of you may, you know, have run for office on a pro-union platform, and instead you've let your county managers declare war on the union, and that's just the situation. So anyway, thank you.
Next is Jeremy Davison. Jeremy Davison. Next is Levon Anison. Next is Tiffany O'Brien.
Hello, everybody. I am Tiffany O'Brien, and I work in Thurston County. I've been the first face you see when you walk into the Thurston County courtroom, mainly the Family and Juvenile Court, for over 3 years now. I'm here today to ask the county commissioners to further assist their county manager with the ongoing negotiations between my union, Local 618, and Thurston County. The bargaining agreement between Thurston County and the union has been out of date since the end of the year. The contract is now 164 days overdue. During this time, the county awarded employees not covered by the union a $1,500 retention bonus, leaving those waiting on Thurston County to bargain high and dry. The email sent on May 8th, 128 days into 2023, stated, "The county has been experiencing high employee turnover and retention challenges. The BoCC has a goal of retaining skilled, knowledgeable employees, and payment of a retention bonus is a means of acknowledging the commitment of county employees. Compensation of employees in union represented positions is subject to collective bargaining and outside the scope of this position," end quote. The last sentence was underlined to add emphasis. Does that sound like an employer wishing to retain its employees, or does that sound like an employer trying to union bust? It is obvious to me, and it worked. I had several employees ask me if they could pull out of the union and get the $1,500 retention bonus. As the shop steward, I had to explain that was not how it worked. Because of this bad faith negotiating style, and because our cost of living adjustment has not even come close to the actual cost of living increase, I am always on the lookout for a new employer, and many of my coworkers are the same. Citizens of Thurston County, when you come to the offices, do you wish to work with someone who is constantly polishing up their resume, or would you prefer to be assisted by an employee who likes their job and feels appreciated? County commissioners, please push the county manager to serve the citizens of Thurston County properly by getting back to good faith negotiations with the union. I can say I don't feel very appreciated right now, and I feel like the county manager is more interested in making sure I park in the right place than he is negotiating with the union. Thank you.
Next is Jamie Sullivan.
Who?
Jamie Sullivan. Next is Jason Morgan. Next is Kate Nelson.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Kate Nelson, and I am speaking to you on my lunch break as a union member. I've worked at Thurston County as an associate planner in the community planning department for the last 4.5 years. More recently, I've brought the Grand Mound sub-area plan and the wireless cut update for your review, both very complicated, controversial, and important priorities for the county. I've also previously brought you other important items like the Raya watershed management plans that address water availability. The associate planners at Thurston County spend their days balancing these high priority projects in order to follow through with the communities and ultimately the board's requests for change in Thurston County. They are warm, competent, and passionate individuals who deserve comparable wage increases. I say this as somebody who will not benefit from these increases because my last day will be June 26th. I have loved working at the county, but we can no longer afford it. The work that your staff accomplish in every department is no longer reflected in their pay, and recruitment is ramping up. I hope that you push to provide your planners and your other staff who are going above and beyond to accomplish their goals a fair cost of living increase so that they can continue working at Thurston County. Thank you.
Next is Georgia AUST.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Georgia AUST. I live in West Olympia, and I work for Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. I work on the front lines of the opioid epidemic as a community coalition coordinator for Tumwater Hopes. We are a youth substance use prevention coalition in Tumwater, and our goal is to reduce youth substance use through evidence-based prevention programs, making sure that youth are aware of the risks and dangers of substance use before they start, and as well as having positive mental health coping skills in order to deal with the stresses of life without turning to substances. It's very important work. And I've heard from the county that it maybe is not sustainable to meet living wage for our union. And I would urge the county to take a step back and when they consider what is sustainable. I have been here less than a year, which isn't a long time, which is why I'm surprised that I've seen as much turnover as I have. Our county is hemorrhaging employees, as many before me have said, going off to greener pastures, better employment opportunities. And I can tell you that as a new employee trying to get her footing, learn the job, this makes things very difficult when there is so much constant churn, and it makes morale low. It makes me question whether this is, you know, the kind of stable government job that my parents had, and if this is the kind of career that I want to go into. So I urge the county commissioners to push the county manager to work with the union, provide us a living wage, and make sure that this is an employer of choice. Thank you.
Next is Stacy Everett. Stacy Everett. Next is Philip Adams. Philip Adams. Next is Aldo, is that an I? Oh, Abby Haley, sorry. Abby Haley.
Can't help you on that one.
Sue Day.
Initials are SD for sure.
Okay, I don't see anyone coming up.
Ridgeview Loop, Tumwater.
Nope, okay. Okay, this is through the sign-up sheet. Is there anyone else in the boardroom that would like to provide public testimony at this time?
Thank you. Sorry I was late. My name is Jane Mountjoy-Venning, and I'm a resident of Thurston County, and I've worked for the health department for a little over 30 years. I'm speaking, of course, on my own time and for myself, but informed by my role as a supervisor of the septic operations and maintenance program, where we really strive to keep sewage being treated correctly and dealing with any that's leaking out or surfacing in a timely manner. What I would like to say is that things have shifted quite a bit in the last couple of years to where it is so much harder to recruit and keep staff than it has ever been in my 30 years here. Where we used to get maybe 60 applicants for a position, we maybe get 6, and maybe only 2 or 3, maybe only 2 are qualified. We have my younger staff do not feel like they can afford to live in the county. They look for homes elsewhere or rent elsewhere. People do not stay long. Other places are paying better. And I feel like we really need to be treated with respect and with a reasonable cost of living raise in order to stem, as you've heard, this sort of continuing leaving of staff and continuing difficulty in hiring staff. It would be very hard to operate the county and do the important work that we all do without any staff to do it. And I fear for that. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Last name was Sue Coiner. I apologize. Okay, anyone else in the boardroom?
Hi, thank you for your time today, Commissioners. My name is Skylar Specht. I am a local, I'm a dues paying member of Local 618, Council 2. I've worked for Public Works here for 3.5 years in the Stormwater Utility Department. I provide quality services doing stormwater inspections of private stormwater facilities. I coordinate maintenance with private stormwater facility owners and also educate property owners on how to properly maintain and take care of their system. I'm out in the field in the muck, encountering stormwater systems that are lacking maintenance, they're aging, and they're potentially sending pollutants into our waterways as well. I help property owners understand what's going on in their system, and I help coordinate the maintenance that is needed without charging them an arm and a leg for it. The cost of stormwater services has risen dramatically in the past 2 years. It's reflected right back on the residents of this county. I'm not afraid to get dirty and go above and beyond for these residents to ensure they're taken care of and that the maintenance services that they are scheduling, that they're not getting taken advantage of. It's been very frustrating to have to dig into savings, not be able to afford a home, and deal with the rising costs of gas, groceries, and rent, while the county still has not proposed a wage increase, which reflects the services that we perform out in the field. It is insulting that while I'm out in the field working hard for the residents of this county, those who are elected to represent said citizens refuse to show us their respect by offering a fair, livable wage that reflects the cost of living and the services that I and all of the people in this room provide. This is all that we request. We're worth more. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else in the boardroom? Okay.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Vance. I am a lifelong Thurston County resident, and I've been working for the county for 5 years. Currently, my position at District Court is the Development Coordinator. I'm responsible for training all of our new customer service and courtroom clerks, as well as our civil clerks. In the last 2 years, actually just 2 years this weekend, that I've held this position, I've trained 11 employees in 14 different positions and have 4 more employees that I'll be training within the next couple of months. The turnover at Thurston County has been really disappointing. I left the state to work for the county, understanding that I was coming into a better compensation package than I would have been offered at the state, better growth opportunities, and wanted to also, as many people have said, serve the community that I've lived in. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of employees leaving the county to go to the state because that's just not true anymore. We've heard in many Board of County Commissioner meetings that things get approved on the budget because that's just the cost of doing business. Well, I'd like to say that paying your employees a livable wage, not asking for millions here or hundreds of thousands, but just a livable wage, that is just the cost of doing business.
Anyone else in the boardroom? Okay, we'll move on to Zoom.
Yeah, I'll go into Zoom and I'll call you. I know there's some employees who are here to present an item on the board meeting, but I will call you anyways, just in case you'd like to provide testimony this afternoon. Cynthia Taylor? Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jamie Kirsch? Sorry.
No, thank you.
Chris Peterson? Next, I have Mike's Galaxy S25G. Teresa Parsons. Tim Wilson. Susan Joachim.
Hello. Oh, sorry, my dog's going. So I live on Young Road on Steamboat Island Peninsula, and I have spoken with you guys many times before. My issue is our peninsula is still a high fire risk wildland urban interface area. And that's not going to change. The drought is here, climate change, and so on, and the increased fire risk. And while our population has grown, we still only have one main road in and out. So, you know, last summer, DNR responded to 377 wildfires. 33% of those were in the Puget Sound region, including Thurston County. And I believe that on June 5th, the Olympia Regional Clean Air Act guys and DNR have already issued a burn ban for our area. And I hope you guys are aware of Commissioner Hillary Franz's push regarding the lack of preparedness in this state which includes Thurston County, to get wildfire ready. When you guys did a burn ban ordinance 15308 in 2016, it was all about discharge, nothing else. So I still believe that we are at serious risk from the aerial fireworks that are sold when a burn ban has been declared by DNR and you guys participate in establishing a burn ban. You've had 7 years to come up with a game plan for dealing with these aerial discharges during a burn ban, and you really need to get on it. It is not going to change. If you have not developed any sort of action plan, you need to stop playing games with Mother Nature.
Thank you. Please wrap it up.
Yes, I am. Hillary Franz is very concerned for our safety, and you should be also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Heather Stone.
Nothing, thank you.
Brian Mayer.
No, thank you.
Corey Martin. Craig Sisson.
No comment, thank you.
The name just Susan.
Nothing, thank you.
Andrew Poller. Andrew Bond.
Can the commissioners hear me?
Go
Awesome.
ahead, Andrew, 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Andrew Bond with Community Planning and Economic Development, and I'm speaking to you on my break regarding the pay disparities seen in certain positions relating to the union contract. As of today, June 13th, an associate planner's starting pay with the City of Olympia is $77,143. The City of Lacey is $84,738. The City of Tumwater is $67,104, and Pierce County is $78,832. Thurston County starting wage is $64,428. That's a range of $2,600 to $20,000 in difference. The jurisdictions mentioned above were included in the pay and compensation study that the board received a presentation on yesterday. I was once told that one works for Thurston County because they care for the environment and not money. I simply do not agree, as the cost of living has skyrocketed while our wages have remained stagnated. We cannot attract new employees, and we are rapidly losing our best employees due to the county's refusal to offer a realistic wage. We need to recognize the county's greatest assets are not materials or infrastructure, but the dedicated employees that work every day to keep the county moving. The only way to slow down the revolving door is to make the meaningful changes needed to the lives of the employees that work here. We are worth more. Thank you.
Next, I have Lynn Briggs.
Yes, this is Elaine Briggs. I live in the city of Lacey, and I would just like our commissioners, I would urge you to listen to your county employees, because they are the ones who make our county a livable place, and we all depend on them. So take the time to get the facts, listen to your employees, and make some hard decisions. Thank you.
Ray Brady.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm here for later on in the meeting. No comment at this time.
Thank you, Ray. Michael Rainey. Marcus Storbeck.
No comment on for later in the meeting.
Thank you. Susan Helland. Vicky Larkin. Jane Doe. And Bay Pickering, maybe B Pickering, sorry. That will conclude public testimony, Madam Chair.
Okay. Next is county manager's update.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate, and I really appreciate all the employees who came today and provided you public testimony. The county is committed to find a balanced contract. We currently have going through mediation, as some of you stated, and we'll continue to go through that process before we bring a contract to the board. Obviously, the board is in the position to direct me as they see appropriate, as they see fit. But at this point, that's the status of the negotiations. Also, I'd like to follow up with past public testimony from last week, and this related to similar testimony of today's from Mr. Frank Hicks. And the chair of the board and myself are going to try to set up a meeting with the mayor of Tenino. And the location of the memorial wall that you're requesting requires the city of Tenino to maintain in perpetuity that facility. So it needs to be an agreement with the city of Tenino as to where that location will be. So stay tuned, see how the conversation with the mayor of Tenino goes, and I will keep you posted. Next, I have a related to the
Somebody dropped something.
Ma'am.
Trudy? Here. Is that, who's?
Don't leave that behind.
Can we close the?
Can we close the glass?
Thank you. The other update is what I mentioned to the board during the agenda setting this morning related to the upcoming ban on the outdoor burning. And I believe Commissioner Edwards asked me to look into what the weather forecast is. So I'm going to play a little bit of my meteorologist role this afternoon. Looking at the long-term forecast, it appears to be on the temperatures between 67 today, 66 tomorrow, and it will drop down to 59 degrees on Sunday, June 18th, and it appears to be there about low 60s, high 50s for the foreseeable future. In consultation with the fire marshal, at this point we're going to hold the burn ban maybe until the end of the month and see how that can coincide with a potential ban on the discharge of fireworks, which I will be receiving a recommendation from the fire marshal in emergency services next week before your last meeting. And also for the public's, and I know Madam Chair is going to touch base on this, is next week, June 20th, is the last meeting before the Board of County Commissioners move into a summer recess. It will go from June 16 to July 14, I believe. June 26 to July 14. Any questions?
Questions? County Manager, I would like to request a follow-up to the public comment that we received today, either a work session or an update.
Yep, we'll schedule an executive session to give you the status of the negotiations. Will that work?
Commissioners, that is my request, but I'm not sure if commissioners.
What was your proposal?
I'll bring an executive session related to labor agreements. So you have the opportunity to discuss the matters that you discussed today as well as with the HR negotiating team.
Yep, okay.
And I will try to schedule that for next Tuesday morning, June 20th.
With that, we'll move on our agenda with consent items. There's items 3A through 3D. Is there any item that the commissioners would like to remove from the consent agenda? Okay, with that, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve consent items 3A through 3D.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to department items, and just for the public awareness, we will be pausing at 3:30 to address the public hearing. So we'll try to address as many department items as possible during this time. So first item is item 4A from Central Services, award design build contract for Thurston County infrastructure upgrades number 25610.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Rick Thomas, the manager of the Capital Projects Managing Team, and I'm here on behalf of Central Services. A project development study was conducted to determine the best approach to renovate and reconfigure the existing courthouse campus. Based on the study, the most efficient and cost-effective process is the alternative Public Works Progressive Design Build Delivery method. To utilize this approach, there was a required approval from the State of Washington Project Review Committee that was received on March 23rd, 2023. On March 28th, the Board of County Commissioners authorized Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell to advertise a request for qualifications for progressive design build services for the Thurston County Infrastructure Upgrades Project. The RFQ was a two-step procedure, with step one being the submittal of a statement of qualifications, followed by a step two response to requests for proposals. On April 19th, we received 6 statements of qualifications proposals that were evaluated and scored by the County Selection Board. On May 3rd, the 3 highest ranked proposers were issued a request for proposal and invited to participate in an active meeting with the county selection panel the following week. On May 25th, we received proposals from each of the shortlisted companies. These proposals were evaluated and scored by the selection panel and then combined with the statement of qualification scores to determine the overall highest ranked contractor. Based upon this evaluation process, the county selection panel is recommending the award of a contract for progressive design build services for the Thurston County Infrastructure Upgrades, project number 25610, to M.A. Mortensen Company in the amount of $1,642,500 and authorize the county manager to execute the contract and amendments due to unforeseen conditions only that do not exceed 10%. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Questions? Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, we're in front of us. We've got a $1.6 million issue towards working on the courthouse up on the hill, right?
Yes, correct.
And as other things move forward, we will have an opportunity to vote on some of those issues and dollar amounts when they're presented. Is that right, in a future date?
That is correct. We're just going through what we're calling phase 1A right now, which is to look back at the feasibility study that was done, confirm the data that was there, start some schematic design, and start some preliminary cost estimating. And based upon that information, yes, we will be coming back to the board.
Okay, thank you. That's it from me, ma'am.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
I went through my questions this morning. Thank you.
No further questions for me. We did have, after reviewing our agendas and agenda setting, we did have an informational session where Thomas reviewed the information of the process that staff went through to choose this outfit and the multiple steps that it took to get to this point. So thank you for that. If there are no more further questions, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to award a contract for progressive design build services for the Thurston County Infrastructure Upgrades Project 25610 to M.A. Mortensen Company in the amount of $1,642,500 and authorize the county manager to execute the contract and amendments due to unforeseen conditions only that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, from Community Planning and Economic Development, item 5A, the authorization to issue a request for proposals RFP to Habitat Conservation Plan training.
Good afternoon, Chair Mejia and Commissioners. I'm Andrew DeFobis, Senior Planner with Community Planning. Thurston County Community Planning and Economic Development is seeking approval to issue a request for proposals for the development of educational materials related to the Habitat Conservation Plan. The county is seeking a marketing or communications firm with experience in public sector outreach and training to develop online training and associated digital and print promotional materials for the Habitat Conservation Plan. The training materials will target county permit applicants who are required to get HCP permits and follow specific best management practices for their projects. The goal of the training is to teach permit applicants, both building contractors and do-it-yourselfers, how to follow the HCP best management practices when siting and constructing a project. Products to be produced by the chosen contractor include educational videos, fact sheets, and other graphics. The budget for this project is $100,000, and the project must be completed by October 31st, 2023. The funds are available from a previously awarded U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service grant for the Habitat Conservation Plan development. That concludes my remarks. I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, ma'am. I was glad to hear you say include the do-it-yourselfers, because we get a lot of that comes through, and those folks generally do not know the rules. So we've started this process supposedly the 1st of January, but it didn't quite get off to what we thought it would be. Now, do you have any idea how many permits we have issued?
I heard that question this morning that you asked, and we're looking into that information for you. We do,
okay.
We do have those stats. It's just
I mean, but we have
getting
started
those. Yes,
issuing
we
permits. We've got
yes,
a number under our belt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would that be okay? We'll bring that information next Tuesday morning.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But I'd like to point out to the public that we are following this pretty closely, because we, as county commissioners, are hearing from the public, well, what about this and what about that? This was said. Anyway, on April 11th, during agenda setting, we reached a consensus, I believe, of the board that said, a unanimous consensus, I believe, of the board that said we want to get monthly updates. And I believe the chair said until, I don't know, the fall, I think. I can't recall it all. But it's in our material from that agenda setting. So I'm hoping that we're also going to get that monthly briefing all along. And in the meantime, we'll be getting our staff up to speed through this process. But do you have any idea about how long that's going to take? I realize we're still moving forward, but do we have a few folks up there that can kind of step up and really help citizens out in the meantime and go the extra mile?
Yeah, and we can bring you some more specific information about timelines, but there are a lot of things happening right now with coordination across the department, because I'm in long-range planning, and we've got a piece of it. The Building Development Center folks have a piece of it, and so do the current planners. So there's regular coordination meetings of those groups to try to work out kinks in the process, work through applications where we have questions. A lot of time was spent developing guidance from the director for best practices for staff to follow to try to streamline things. So a lot of those things are in the works, but specific timelines for when we might hope to see increased efficiency, that's something that we could maybe bring back at the next work session.
Okay, again, I'd just like to point out to the public that the county has been working on this issue, I guess, for about 10 years now. And this kind of is bringing it, this is almost the final step towards that efficiency ability, I guess, is the best way I can put it. So thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to authorize the Community Planning and Economic Development Department to issue a request for proposal for Habitat Conservation Plan training.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, one point of discussion I failed to mention. And the funding source that is going to go into the development of this training is coming from the federal government, is that right?
That's
so
correct.
It's not coming out of our general fund. I'd just like to have the public know that. So thank you.
Commissioner Edwards just covered my point.
Okay. So with that, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works, item 6A, contract award for Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair, CP number 77175.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Brian Meyer, Senior Civil Engineer with Thurston County Public Works. On May 25th, a total of 4 bids were received to construct the Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair Project. The bids were received in response to work advertised in the Olympian and the Seattle Daily Journal of Commerce and posted on the Builders Exchange of Washington website. The low responsive bidder was Active Construction, Inc. of Puyallup, Washington, with a bid amount of $2,665,665. This project will reconstruct both approaches to the bridge crossing over Percival Creek on the northern end of Black Lake. And both approaches have settled more than 2 feet due to poor soil conditions over the last few years and create a safety concern for vehicles and bicyclists. The project will install 450 piles spaced approximately 5 feet apart, and they will be driven into the ground to stabilize soils prior to rebuilding the approaches. Construction also will include the installation of retaining walls and some concrete barriers. This construction is expected to take approximately 90 days, and Black Lake Belmore Road Southwest will be closed to accommodate construction operations, and a temporary detour route will be in place during this closure. The total estimated construction costs includes contract award and construction management is around $3,150,000. Funding with this project is from the real estate excise tax and the county road fund. Public Works is requesting the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract for the construction of Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair Project to Active Construction Inc. and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions, only up to 10% of this contract. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
I guess I'd just like to point out to the public that we've had a lot of discussion over this particular issue, and there's areas they can go and see those at the county's YouTube channel if they would like to see those discussions down the road. So thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser? No. Okay, no questions for me. I am ready for a motion.
I move to award the contract for Black Lake Belmore Road Bridge Approach Repair Project CP 77175 to Active Construction Inc. of Puyallup, Washington in the amount of $2,665,665. Assume that's correct, not a typo. And to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, for up to 10% of the contract. $266,566 or an aggregate of $2,932,231.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Item 6B is the right-of-way dedication resolution, Johnson Point, Hawks Prairie Roundabout Project, CP number 61364.
Thank you, Commissioners. Craig Sisson, Real Estate Services Manager for Public Works. Thurston County Public Works is slated to construct intersection improvements at Johnson Point Road and Hawks Prairie Road. The project will construct a single-lane roundabout and pedestrian facilities. The project will reduce traffic congestion, improve traffic flow, and improve safety for the traveling public. The project requires the permanent acquisition of 444 square feet from the existing 67.91 acre Woodland Creek Wetland Preserve that is owned and operated by Thurston County Public Works Parks and Trails. The project was designed to have as little impact to the preserve as feasible, and none of the impact encroaches on wetlands within the parcel. All impacts occur in previously disturbed areas on existing shoulders, paved areas, and uplands. The project and impacts to the preserve were previously presented to the Board of County Commissioners on August 31st, 2021. The project right-of-way phase was approved by the Board of County Commissioners on December 14th, 2021. This road vacation is in alignment with the county's strategic plan and Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. I'm here to answer any questions.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, I think we've had plenty of discussion about this one too. Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser? Okay, no questions from me. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve a resolution dedicating right-of-way for the Johnson Point Hawks Prairie Roundabout Project, CP 61364, as outlined in the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Next item is to set a public hearing to consider updates to the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code.
Madam Chair, would you like to break for the public hearing?
What is it, 3:30? Oh, yes. Okay. So we'll go ahead and take a break from our regular meeting to move to the public hearing. So we're starting the public hearing for the 2023 Open Space Tax Program application. It is 3:31 p.m. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public comment on the Clements application for enrollment into the Open Space Tax Program. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined in person, by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select BoCC meetings, hearings, and work sections agendas on the right-hand side. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Marissa Wiseman, Associate Planner, will provide information on this topic. I'm sorry, Marissa, Wiseman, right? Wiseman. I will be calling out names for oral testimony, those in person first and Zoom second. When you hear your name, please come forward and provide public testimony. Assuming those on Zoom wish to testify, I will read your name out loud. You will have 4 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you're called on, please state your name and address for the record. The public hearing is now open. Marissa will now present background information of the proposed open space application, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board.
Thank you, Commissioner Mejia. Good afternoon, Commissioners, County Managers. For the record, my name is Marissa Wisman with Community Planning. Today, the board is here to hold a public hearing on the Clements Open Space Tax Program application. The purpose of the Open Space Tax Program is to conserve open space lands, which the Open Space Taxation Act under RCW 8434 requires of county governments, with tax reductions granted if qualifying properties are maintained in an open space state. The board is a legislative authority pursuant to RCW 8434 to approve open space applications under this system. The proposed property discussed today is located on Maple Valley Road Southwest, which lies north of Cedar Flats Road Southwest, south of State Highway 8 West, and is northwest of Delphi Road Southwest in unincorporated Thurston County. The applicants propose to enroll 4 of their 5 acres in open space under the Farm and Agricultural Conservation Land category, subtracting 1 acre for residential structures and appurtenances. The subject property was formerly enrolled in the assessor's farm and agricultural land classification, along with their son's adjacent 35 acres, but is no longer eligible since their son has sold his properties. However, the property is eligible for enrollment in open space. The applicants propose to continue grazing livestock on their property and to maintain open pasture for future agricultural use in accordance with the farm conservation proposal they submitted. In conclusion, the Clements property appears to meet the criteria for enrollment in the open space farm and agricultural conservation land category for 3 points and a 50% reduction, based on the following factors, which are included in RCW 8434 and in the Thurston County Open Space Tax Program guidelines. The land was previously classified as farm and agricultural land under the assessor's program, but no longer qualifies. And the Clements have since applied for reclassification as farm and agricultural conservation land after receiving notification of removal by the county assessor. The applicants are proposing continued agricultural use and maintaining their pasture for long-term ag activities. And finally, supporting documents, including a farm conservation plan showing measures that will be taken to maintain and protect their property for future commercial ag use, were submitted with the application materials. The Planning Commission held a work session and a public hearing on February 15th and March 15, 2023 on the current open space application and unanimously recommended approval. The board held a work session on April 27th and agreed to set this public hearing. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Olympian on May 24th. A webmail announcement was sent to the Community Planning Division's email listserv on May 25th. And a press release was issued on June 2nd, as well as notification letters sent to all neighbors within 500 feet of the applicant's parcel. Thurston County Community Planning has also updated the website with all available documents being considered at this hearing. As of today, no public comments have been received. Commissioners, this concludes my remarks, and I thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
Marissa, I'm sorry if,
Okay, can you please take a seat?
Absolutely.
thank you. Okay. So with that, Marissa, sorry.
He wasn't talking
He
to
wasn't
you.
talking to you, Marissa. No worries. For the public, we just had some members of the public.
Got to throw in some
walk in,
amusement
yeah.
there.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions. I think we've covered this quite a bit. Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser?
You probably said it, but has there been any written comment?
There have not.
Okay. And is there a minimum parcel size for its qualification? Like this one is 4 acres.
It's
How
generally,
low can you go?
It's generally 5 acres, not including the subtraction of 1 acre for existing structures, like residential structures or appurtenances.
So this kind of is the bare minimum. Okay.
Currently.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we'll move to public testimony. And so I do not have anyone on my sheet, but I just saw a group of folks walk in. So anyone in the boardroom would like to provide public testimony? Go ahead. So please introduce yourself and the address here side.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jack Olson, 3541 Carson Lane, Olympia, Washington, 98502. So I am a lifelong friend of the Clements family, and I was asked by Joan and Clark to just come and speak in their behalf. And these are neighbors of the Clements, and we had a nice conversation out in the hallway. So I just wanted to, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have, but I had two real brief comments. One is Bruce tells me that he's lived on the property a lot longer than Clements, and he was sharing with me that the property around Maple Valley Road has been used for grazing cattle for many years. I don't know, Bruce, what the time frame was, but the Clements bought the property in the early 1990s, and then shortly thereafter started to graze cattle on the property. I don't know the exact time frame of when it got put into open space, but it was a combination of Joan and Clark Clements property and their son Jim Clements property got put into open space, and I believe it's been in open space for over 20 years. Last summer, Jim Clements sold his property, and Joan and Clark were notified by Doreen in the assessor's office that their property was no longer eligible for the open space, and that it would, when it comes out of open space, that they were going to be subjected to 7 years of back taxes. So I've been working with Marissa now for almost a year in getting the paperwork all filled out. Marissa did an absolutely excellent job. She's been a pleasure to work with, and she did a really good job of, I think, capturing all of the information. So I did want to address, and I think it's the concern of the neighbors, is the notice went out to the adjoining neighbors within 500 feet, and there was kind of one clause in there, which I believe the commissioners have heard before, that it describes the open space program, and it says, taxes saved by landowners in the program are shifted to other residents in the taxing district. And unfortunately, the immediate neighbors, because they were the ones that received the notice, I believe took that to mean that they were going to have to basically pick up whatever taxes the Clements didn't pay. So I had contacted Marissa, and she was very, very nice to give me a comment back. And so I'm just going to read a quick blurb that she had shared with me. While the assessor's office cannot provide the exact amount of tax burden shift to the neighbors at this time, as a number of factors come into play which can change each year, such as fire and school district levies for a particular tax district. We have been assured in past cases that the property tax shift is very minor and basically pennies on the dollar. So anyhow, thank you very much for your consideration. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. Okay.
I do have a question. Might be for Marissa. You probably told us, but why doesn't this qualify for assessor? What was the deal there where it doesn't?
Marissa.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Since their son has sold his adjacent properties, they're no longer able to meet the minimum annual commercial agricultural income that would be required being in the assessor's program. Open space doesn't require that. It only requires that the property be maintained potentially for future commercial ag use.
So they'd have to be making a certain amount of money?
Exactly. Yeah, they would have to be bringing in a certain amount of income in order to stay in the assessor's program.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else in the boardroom would like to provide public testimony?
I'm Bruce Smith. I live right across the street. Anyhow, when the letter came out, you know, it said everybody within 500 feet of the property line. And so we all assumed that we were going to be the ones picking up their tax break, you know, because it was a little undecisive of what it is. And now that we've actually found out that it's actually been in the system for 20 plus years, that it's probably already been on our taxes. I mean, everybody knows we pay plenty of property taxes as it is, and they keep going up every year. And so it was sort of a red flag for us to say, okay, here, the county is now come up with this idea to go ahead and pass this tax break on to their neighbors, you know, so that's, you know, but now I think we know a little bit more of, you know, the way it is, so.
So
Yeah.
I'm just curious if your testimony and the previous gentleman is in support of this action by the board or not. I'm unclear on your testimony where you're in support of this action.
As long as it, you know, if it's, I guess, yeah, we like the Clements really well. They're wonderful people and, you know, they're elderly and, you know, they need a tax break probably just as well as the rest of us could use it because we're all retired and, you know, we live on a fixed income and, you know, and our taxes keep going up and up and up and, you know, what do we do? So at the end result, you end up getting less groceries a month or whatever it takes to be able to pay it. You know, when I moved out there 30 years ago, my property taxes wasn't nothing like they are now. And now you know, my house is paid for, but I'm still paying well over $400 a month on property taxes, you know, so, and every little bit, you know, it's, you know, we got to count for it. So.
This is, Bruce, this is actually for Marissa or Andrew, I think. But if this notice is sent out to the people within 500 feet, the taxing district is much bigger than that 500 feet. So it would not fall just on you folks. It falls on this very large taxing district. And
yeah, that's what we
in that
come to
case,
find out now.
it's a very, very small amount that you're going to share.
Right, and so we, you know, we wondered why, you know, everybody within 500 feet, why were they notified, you know?
Yeah, you'd probably rather share that little tiny bit than have 7 homes there or whatever.
Well,
that property.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want it subdivided down more.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay. So with that, is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to provide?
No, we don't have anybody on Zoom, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we'll go on to discussion of the board. Anything the board would like to discuss about this application?
Are we going to come out of session to make a decision? Because I'm ready to make a decision.
Well, we're going to close the public hearing. Yeah, and then.
Okay,
So
well,
if there's no discussion, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Yeah.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
And I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm ready to vote in favor of this move.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay, then there is a suggested motion. Are commissioners ready to move forward on the suggested motion?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner, are you ready?
I'll move to approve the Clements application into the open space tax program administered by the Board of County Commissioners and authorize the chair to sign the open space tax agreement.
Second.
I have a different suggested motion on the public hearing as,
I believe the one on the agenda is what Commissioner Menzer read.
okay, is that, Marissa, is that adequate and what you need? Okay, just want to make sure.
Just because the public's here, could I say something?
Go ahead.
I'd just like to point out that in the morning when we go over all these, we've had several agendas that were adjusted as the day went on. So you're seeing a little bit of that confusion here now, but we're on top of it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer, Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay,
I just wanted to say too, as a point of discussion, that we get a couple, 3 of these a year, and, you know, they're usually approved because, if they qualify, because we know that it's spread out, and we've actually crunched, and some earlier applications, we actually crunched the numbers because the commissioners wanted to know, like, what kind of burden are we actually shifting? And it really is like absolutely minimal to where it feels like it's the right thing to do. You know, I can't remember.
Couple dollars or something,
Yeah,
maybe.
It's pretty minimal. And so, you know, in order to achieve the goals of the program, it seems like a good balance, so.
Thank you very much.
thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
So, thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. With that, we will move back to our regular meeting. It is 3:48. Do commissioners want to take a mini break?
We're almost done, I think. We can break before Board of Health.
Okay, so let's push on through.
Item 5C,
Okay, 60.
60, thank you.
Okay, okay, so 3:48, we're coming back to a regular meeting, and we left off with item 6C to set a public hearing to consider updates to the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager with Public Works, and I am here today requesting the board set a public hearing to consider updates to the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code. To provide some background, Thurston County owns and operates 3 water and sewer utilities in the Grand Mount, Tamashan, and Boston Harbor communities, and a septic tank effluent pumping or STEP system with a community drain field in Olympic View. With the exception of the Grand Mound systems, all the water and sewer utilities were acquired by requirement of state regulatory agencies due to the systems either failing or being poorly managed by the communities that they served. It is the sole responsibility of the county to operate and manage the water and sewer systems in accordance with RCW 3694-140. Public Works contracted with HDR Engineering Incorporated to explore the feasibility of consolidation of the county managed water and sewer utilities. The feasibility study provided by HDR outlined a clear path to consolidation. Public Works subsequently contracted with FCS Group to conduct a revenue requirement study and develop rate structures for consolidated utilities. Benefits outlined in the study provided by FCS Group included improved financial stability and reduced volatility, shared planning and capital prioritization, economies of scale through rate blending, and simplified accounting, administration, and utility billing. Code revisions are recommended to standardize administration of the utilities, to support a consolidated utility model, and to provide definition updates to make the code more understandable to the public. The requested public hearings will follow a robust outreach and involvement process. The public outreach to date has consisted of an informational webpage on the Public Works website, which included a summarization of proposed updates, as well as the draft ordinance for public review. Information related to the proposed code updates was also provided to customers via utility bill inserts and messaging in the annual Consumer Confidence Report. Utility advisory committees, or UACs, were informed of the consolidation process as a standing agenda item at regular UAC meetings. Community open houses for each served community are scheduled for the last week of June as an additional opportunity for community engagement. Dates, location, and times of the open houses can be found on the Water and Sewer Utility page. In addition, we plan on providing a news release to the PIO, the county PIO. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser?
No.
Okay.
County Manager, did you have something?
No, I believe Tim answered the questions the board had, specifically when the open houses with the communities will be. I don't know if you picked on that. That was a request by the board this morning.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
Move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, room 110, to accept and consider public comments on proposed updates to the Thurston County Water and Sewer Utility Code, chapters 1509, 1510, and 1512.
Is there a second?
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay. Item 6D is to set a public hearing to consider a resolution consolidating the water and sewer utilities.
Thank you, Commissioners. This item is closely related to the item you just heard, and I'm requesting that the board set a public hearing to consider a resolution consolidating the water and sewer utilities. As the background is identical to what you just heard, I will spare you most of it. I would like to add that a resolution is necessary to consolidate the water and sewer utility funds and to establish a consolidated utility advisory committee. The public outreach is very similar, mimics the outreach for the code updates. And with that, I would answer any questions the board may have.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser? Okay, no questions for me. I am ready for a motion.
I move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, July 18th, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, room 110, to accept and consider public comment on a resolution amending the Board of County Commissioners' previously established principles of governance and management for Thurston County utility operations by repealing resolution number 09993, establishing consolidated rate and fund structures, and establishing a consolidated utility advisory committee.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay. And last department item is interlocal agreement with Thurston County Public Utility District Number 1.
Hello, this is Teresa Parsons, Engineering Project Manager, and Marcus Storvik, our Senior Civil, who is a Project Manager on our Country Club Road at Green Cove Creek Culvert Replacement Project. This request to you is to request entering into an interlocal agreement with Thurston County Public Utility District Number 1 to have the county be the lead on design and construction of the replacement of the 6-inch water main that is in Country Club Road that will need to be temporarily relocated to keep customers in service while the bridge is constructed. And then permanently install a new 6-inch water main. And the PUD will reimburse the county for all costs associated with this, but there is benefits for efficiencies in the collaboration of moving forward this way. So staff requests the commission to consider executing this interlocal agreement between Thurston County and Thurston County Public Utility District Number 1 for removing and replacing a 6-inch water main to include temporary water main during construction.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer? No questions for me. Thank you. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to execute an interlocal agreement between Thurston County and Thurston County Public Utility District Number 1 for removing and replacing a 6-inch water main within the limits of the Country Club Road Northwest at Green Cove Creek Culvert Replacement Project, CP 63023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to our standing items. Item 7A, commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you, sir.
Let's see. The Olympic Air Show is coming up for the weekend of June 17th and 18th at the airport. I might just make mention of that. Attended the 100 Men Who Care About Domestic Violence fundraiser that kind of is hosted by the prosecuting attorney and the Family Support Center. Attended the Washington's insurance fund meeting by Zoom, and it was a disaster, so I don't have much to report on that. And the Fair Board meeting, and everything seems to be going along there, and we're getting ready for the fair. I think I attended with my seatmates the executive seminar on senior and elected officials for emergency management and home preparedness. And the one issue that I want to report on that is of substance, I guess, out of all those is at the communications meeting that was held recently. We still are suffering from a lack of a permit for, it's been, I don't know, a couple of years now on a tower. I believe the county manager knows about it at least, so if there needs to be further comment, possibly you might be able to make that further comment.
Yes, I reached out to the executive director of TCOM 911. And I believe the issue is they already purchased the tower, and we have somewhat of a camouflage code that we need to implement, and based on the current on the tower, their purchase may not be meeting that intent of the code. So we're facilitating going through as soon as possible with the hearing examiners for a special use exception, so we can process that as prompt as possible. And I believe the executive director understand the next steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Okay. Questions? Oh, not questions.
No questions.
No questions for Commissioner Edwards. Okay. You ready for your?
Sure. I previewed this last week, but Wednesday was the Alliance for Healthy South Sound hosting the Puget Sound Partnership Leadership Council, and our staff member Jane Mountjoy Venning gave a presentation on the work we've done with our shellfish protection districts and septics. There was also a presentation from Pierce County about their mobile pump out program, and Mason County created a dedicated funding source. Basically, they tacked, I believe, $5.06 fee on property tax fee in order to fund a whole bunch of septic work going on in Mason County. So that was good. That was at the lot meeting, at the lot building. Saturday we were celebrating World Oceans Day. I think it was actually earlier in the week, but there was a presentation down at Heritage Park. I was invited to speak with Beth Dolio and Chris Peters from the Squaxin Island Tribe. And it was a little bit rainy, but we had a good turnout of tablers and organizations that are doing work to protect oceans, clean up oceans, and spreading awareness about some of the issues, like sea level rise. Commissioner, you should have been there to ask your questions. There was some sea level rise information there, as well as things about, a lot of stuff about plastics. That's a big focus. Had a meeting continued meeting with stakeholders regarding the formation of the Deschutes Watershed Council. We did not get funding in the legislature. This was one of the county's legislative priorities. We were brainstorming about how to do a better job next year of getting to the finish line. A proposal that was made that I supported was creating a letter, because all the stakeholders from the, they call it the REC process. It was a group that got together to try to come up with the Streamflow Restoration Act watershed plan for the Hearst fix. All the stakeholders agreed on the Deschutes Watershed Council. So we're going to have a letter prepared and try to get all those stakeholders' signatures back on it to show that this was not a disputed item of the plan, and see if it'll help us get some traction. And there may be a bill coming rather than just a budgetary proviso ask, but some sort of piece of legislation that we can then get a sponsor for. They're going to meet with Beth Dolio on Friday to potentially be that sponsor. So we'll see where we can get with that. Sentencing Guideline Commission met on Friday, and we are knee deep in planning for our subcommittee work on so there's a project that the legislature has asked us to finish by December on classifying the offenses on the grid. The reason is one of the representatives, I believe Goodman, has helped create a new grid. So now that they've got new grids with seriousness levels and sentencing ranges that have been tweaked, now they want to make sure that the offenses actually line up. So we're not trying to do this from, it's not trying to be a complete replace and rewrite. It's more of a kind of assess it to make sure that there aren't some obvious places where things need to be kind of adjusted to the new confines of the grid, so that they can present the whole package to the legislature next year. So we've broken into four subcommittees: Class C felonies, Class B felonies, Class A felonies, and then sex offenses. I've been put on the B's. I'm on Class B felonies. We're going to meet over the summer, a couple of times a month probably, and try to get recommendations to the full Sentencing Guideline Commission by fall. So that'll be a project. Continuing ongoing discussions with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization and the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office about new opportunities for the triage facility that the county owns. The previous idea that Wayne Graham from the prosecutor's office had that kind of stalled because of a funding is now got new life, because the state, because of new legislation, the state has come in and said, we'll pay for everything. They'll pay for maintenance and operation, $8 to $10 million a year. I mean, these are tentative, but the next step really is Wayne is going to help us develop a letter of interest that I'll present to the board, and just kind of saying to the state, yes, we're interested in this. Please show us show us your proposal. And then that he thinks will get some of the pieces moving forward, and we'll get a funding proposal. But I had a meeting with Mark Friedman, Joe Avalos, and Wayne to kind of hash through what the stumbling blocks might be. And the BHASO folks that were, not as excited about this previously, were part of the meeting with the state leaders. There's Kevin Bovenkamp from DSHS, I think he is. Anyway, they were much more optimistic about prospects for, and what we're trying to do is something that hasn't been done anywhere in Washington apparently, which is basically create an alternative to what used to be the only the only alternative was to go to Western State Hospital for forensic folks that are in jail, not the most serious, but medium serious. They're in jail, but they really need mental health restoration services. And having something like that locally, how it's going to benefit us is clearing folks out of the jail that are taking up like double, I mean, it's especially going to benefit us because we don't have the individual cells for mental health folks that we need. So Disability Rights Washington has been brought into this conversation. They're very excited about this. So it could be a win-win-win if we can get it all pulled together. And then finally, Innovative Justice meeting this morning. The discussion was all around 5536 and all the different things that are moving parts there and how we can get this launched in Thurston County, including the cities. Different cities are taking different approach. Patrick O'Connor from Public Defense, with my support, kind of made the case that, like, look, before we go prosecute, let's keep in mind that we're also dealing with the COVID-19 backlog case. You know, wherever we are philosophically, from a practical standpoint, we're trying to manage the COVID backlog, and flushing the system with a whole bunch of possession cases right now may not be the greatest timing. So at least factor that into the discussions that are there's going to be some multi-jurisdictional conversations about coordinating an approach. So that's my report.
For me, I met with Congresswoman Strickland's outreach team yesterday. They came through and I gave them a tour of the building, and we discussed some of the county's priorities as well as some of the county's issues, especially with the infrastructure in the ballot processing center. I let them know that we were surprised that Congress wasn't a little more focused on elections, seeing that a presidential election is coming next year and that there are requirements for the Department of Homeland Security that we have to meet. And so they said they would look into that. And we discussed a couple more things. Congresswoman Strickland I think she has submitted a bill in regards to helping small farmers with the USDA. And so I have asked them to send me a copy of that. That way we can review it. I'm hoping, I've let them know also that I've been working on the Farm Bill letter with the different stakeholders, and hopefully we have a final draft ready for the commissioners to review in the coming weeks, and then we'll send that out to them. I attended the Mayor's Forum meeting, and I kind of let the commissioners know at Commissioners Check-in last week a little bit about what we discussed there. That morning, I also attended the Storm and Surface Water Advisory Board retreat. I got invited to come and say a few words to those advisory board members, and they met up here, and they're planning on setting some goals on things they would like to see, things they would like to accomplish. It was just great to see how engaged they all are, and just seeing their level of expertise. There's so many engineers and past storm and surface water engineers, so that was just great, and it was just a great group, and I hope that their retreat went well, and I believe that we will be having a follow-up with them in August, where they will come and present some of the goals from that retreat and what they're going to be working on next. So I thought that was pretty great. The Emergency Food and Shelter Program Board, we had a meeting about, we let out some grants and we went through the whole grant process, and this is an opportunity for the different nonprofits who got those grants to come and talk about how that grant helped them achieve what they were trying to achieve. And so we heard from the different nonprofits, and I thought it's just a great thing as you're actually hearing the impact that the funding, and it's not a lot of funding really, it really is, compared to, I feel like what the county sometimes, we approve, but it still makes a significant impact to the community. And so it was just great hearing about just the different services that these nonprofits provide in the community. Intercity transit, not much to report there. I believe I did give a report in the commissioners check-in on that one, and that is all for me.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I made a mistake earlier, and I'd like to clarify that.
Okay.
So it was not a Zoom meeting. It was a Teams meeting.
There you go. Now we understand.
Now you understand.
And I was here in the courthouse on my own computer. It wasn't like I was remote somewhere else. And it was a disaster. So I just want to clarify that because I don't want to give Zoom a bad rap because I really haven't had any problems with Zoom. So anyway.
Well, I have constant issues with Teams, so I can relay, Commissioner.
Okay, so anyway, so thank you.
Teams out of my life.
Just letting out the dog. Okay, so with that, the county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of June 13th, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me walk you through your combined schedule where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Here in a few minutes at 4:30, you have a regular Board of Health meeting. Tomorrow, Wednesday, June 14th, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing, a follow-up briefing related to the Shoreline Management Plan public hearing. At 1 in the afternoon tomorrow, June 14th, you have a long session related to rates for central services, IT, and financial services. And this is leading to preparation to the biennial budget conversation. 4 in the afternoon tomorrow, hopefully you can make that. You have been invited to participate in the Flag Day celebration that is going to be located in the Lacey Flag Pavilion, located more or less by the Applebee's restaurant in Lacey. Thursday, June 15th, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the Experience Olympia and Beyond 360-degree sentiment survey. Following at 9:30 by the Alpha Lake LMD vote briefing. And then 10 in the afternoon, June 15, you have your regular JRT meeting, the Jail Resources Team meeting. Will be located in this room. 1 in the afternoon, June 15, Commissioner Menser, Commissioner Edwards will be attending Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Governing Board meeting, and that is going to be located 411 North 5th Street, Mason County Building 1 in Shelton. Friday, June 16th, 8 in the morning, you have been invited to participate in the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, also known as STEADY. 1 in the afternoon, you have the opportunity to welcome new county employees here at room 208. And at 6 in the afternoon, June 16th, you have been invited to participate on the Suite Day Coronation Ceremony. And that is going to be located at Suite Hall at 18543 Albany Street in Rochester. Monday, June 19th, at the courthouse, and the county is closed in observance to the Juneteenth holiday. Tuesday, June 20th, you have your regular agenda setting at 9:15 in the morning. 2 in the afternoon, you have your regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. And again, that will be your last meeting before your summer recess. They will take effect from June 26th through July 14th. So after the June 20th, next week's board meeting, the next meeting you will have is July 18th. That's a Tuesday. And also next Tuesday, June 20th, 3:30 in the afternoon, you have a public hearing related to the Terry Open Space, followed by an additional public hearing on the 2023-2027 Housing Urban Development Consolidated Plan. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just one issue maybe is, I believe that June 17th is on a Saturday, and that's, the coronation was on Friday, I think the 16th, and they have a parade and activity on the 17th.
Yeah, I don't have it in the calendar, but you're probably correct.
I think that's the day that everything's gonna happen. So just pass that on to them.
The only thing that I have
Is the coronation of the court.
That's the night before, right?
Yeah. The Sweet Day Parade is from 10:30 to 12:30 that Saturday, I believe.
Okay.
But the coronation ceremony is on Friday, I believe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You're adjourned. Yeah.